So what I discovered by looking on your website is your debut novel called Push the Button.
Yeah.
And you ain't holding nothing back.
Nope. Not at all.
If you don't mind, I'd like to read just a teeny bit. I'm not going to give anything away, but I was like, okay, push the button. I want to see you. Though the words could be taken as a request or simple expression of his wants, she knew that they were heavier than that. 5 typed words, 1 command sent via text message, and she had but a few minutes to comply completely. She hurried to the couch, signed into Skype. Within 30 seconds, her screen flashed with an incoming call. Good morning, beautiful girl. She sat up straight, stared at his chest, and noticed that he wore no shirt. You may speak. She continued to look at his chest, having not yet received permission to make eye contact. Good morning, sir. It is an honor to be at your service. May I ask how you are? You may. That's just page 1, y'all. I was like, oh, excuse me? Ask permission to speak. So you can imagine how that was for me to read the medium stuff where you're all feisty, and then I meet this character who has to ask permission. So, okay, let's get into it. I have to say, as much as people complain about 50 Shades of Grey, as a sex educator, I'm actually grateful for the phenomenon because it's opening up dialogues and women are getting into more experimentation, more play, and erotica, shoot, it turns us on. And that's the #1 complaint for women, that they don't feel turned on if they're in this long-term relationship. So talk to me about what led you to write this book. What led you to explore this dominance and submission? Talk to me.
So it's funny that you mentioned 50 Shades. I've been in the lifestyle for well over a decade, actually going on 2 decades now. And when it came out and I read it, it bothered me because I did not feel it was an accurate representation of the lifestyle that we live. I felt that it was more about an abusive man who just liked kinky sex. And I wrote this, the first chapter was just, that's all I was gonna write. I was a blog post. I was like, here's my little short story. Here's my response to, 50 Shades. This is what this is really about. So I wrote that and then everybody was like, well, what happens next? What happens next? And so it was really the fan response that prompted me to keep writing. And I would release a new chapter like every month or so. And people were just like, oh my gosh, what's next? So I thought it was important to write a story about a loving Black couple who has, whatever relationship that's average, but they just like the kinkier side of things, and that they did have this dominant submissive dynamic in their relationship. And I wanted to explore that.